Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to the Winning Drive. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by a fellow lifetime Longhorn, young prodigy C.J. Vogel, and our own coach, former high school football coach at Bernie, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian and coached there as well, and was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches these days. You can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own coach, Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach?
Man, it's all good. It's all good. We got training camp week. We got 33 days to kickoff. We got Stevie Lee on deck. I mean, it don't get any better than that.
It don't, Coach. It's right. We are finally done with the offseason officially. The offseason is in the past. It is football season. I know we still got 33 days till we kick off, but we're actually talking about football because the Longhorns starting up training camp this week. So we'll talk a lot about that. What are your expectations? What are you most looking forward to with training camp starting up? We'll ask Stevie Lee that question coming up, my former teammate and lifetime Longhorn. We'll dive into that coming up. And also, there's the Deion story. I want to get you guys' thoughts about the announcement that Deion made. Get you guys' thoughts about that. We'll also dive into some other comments. Sark did an interview with ESPN, and I revealed something I didn't know about Sark at all that I thought was an interesting little nugget that I think a lot of Longhorn fans would like to hear. So we'll get into that coming up. But your questions, your comments, you drive the show any direction you want to. Super chat, jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. We'll try to address as many questions and comments as we can throughout the show. All right, let's not waste any time. Stevie Lee's here because the man has an actual job. He just joins us when he's got some free time.
One sec, Rob. We got to wait a couple minutes beforehand.
Oh, my bad. Okay. I thought Stevie Lee was ready to go. My apologies. Okay, let me ask you this before we get going then. With training camp starting up, what's the one thing you're most looking forward to, CJ, with training camp starting up? What do you most have your ear keen on hearing? Like what you got your ear to the street with training camp starting up? What you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I want to see that offensive line. I think we know what we're going to get with Arch Manning, right? This is a guy that's going to be able to make the throws, roll out, use his legs a little bit more than we've seen since Sam Ehlinger, right? I'm excited for that. But beyond that, what's that pocket going to look like, right? He's not going to have that a continuation of an offensive line that's been there for 4 years, right? It's a lot of guys that's been around the system and around the program for a while, but haven't necessarily played with one another all too often. So I think in the spring, it was a pretty even battle, maybe even leaning a little bit more towards the defense in terms of that run defense. What can that look like in the fall when they get up and going? And coach, remind me, because I know every coach does it differently, but you like to get some live tackling, some live hitting by scrimmage, weekend 2 or 3 of the fall camp, probably not leading into that game week, obviously, but is it at least 2 live instances in which you see good on good in a scrimmage situation in the fall?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I wouldn't do good on good a lot just because there's so much riding on, reps that these guys get. And when you start getting dinged up, then you can't get reps, especially at the offensive line. Because now I will say this, the offensive line and D-line will have more one-on-one reps than anybody. Well, other than of course, the DBs and the receivers. And, well, they all will, I guess, linebackers and running backs. But, those offensive linemen they'll go pass pro, they'll do blitz protection, all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I've always been a guy who likes to go full pads. I like to get in there and hit those pads a little bit. But you also have to have a good intuition, I think, about when is enough.
Yeah. Does it change in the heat?
I did nothing to answer your question, but I always had to kind of fight myself to hold back because I felt like if they were going to, they need to feel that great tackling and work on form. There's so many other ways that you can work on form now. They have equipment and stuff. They even have robotic tackling dummies. Have you seen those? It'll go across the field and you tackle them. Yeah. They got wheels on them. They're remote control that runs them. It's crazy. So you working on angles and stuff. It's a little bit different than it was back in our day, Rod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sark, I think, is very, conscious and aware of that. He talks about it a lot, how long the season is and how he wants the guys to be fresh, how he wants them to play a lot of different guys in games, so they're fresher. Even talked about how the spring was going to change for them so that guys could have a more kind of a clinical approach to spring to keep them fresher, because the season is so long now with 16 games and hopefully, going to 17 games for Sark. So I think you're right, Coach. I think because you're from the old school like me. We had actual two-a-days back in the day. They don't even do two-a-days anymore. I mean, that's like an old antiquated term. Like, that's no actual real two-a-day. Even at the NFL level, there are no real two-a-days anymore. Even they used to do actual 2 padded practices a day. You don't do that anymore. You do 1 padded practice, and then you may do, just helmets later on, or very light practice. So we're just from those antiquated, archaic days of football. Okay, I want to ask you something, Coach, because I was watching an ESPN interview with Sark. It just came out earlier today, so I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. And Sark's asked a lot of the same things he's been asked, going through the season. It was a good interview, but they were walking the whole time during the interview. And Stevie Lee's here. What's up, Stevie?
What's happening?
Okay, we just in on us like that. I didn't know. Okay, usually I get to introduce you. I apologize for that, Stevie. Lifetime Longhorn, my former teammate, of course, Stevie Lee joins us as he does each and every Monday, courtesy of our good friends at Hard Grove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. If you have any concerns or questions about your roof, reach out to our friends at Hard Grove Roofing. You see it right there, 512-645-3202. Know who's on your roof with our friends at Hard Grove Roofing. Offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, but they are the most pro-burnt orange roofing company out there. That's why they associate with a lot of great Longhorns like my man Stevie Lee. Stevie, how you doing, brother?
Everything's going well. Sorry, I had to take a call, man. So that's why I was in the back room.
I tell people you got an actual job, so that's why I was like, I want to get to Stevie quickly, then get Stevie out of here, because Stevie got actual work to do, and even though he takes the time to join us each and every Monday to talk ball. But let's get to it. What are you most looking forward to either hearing about or seeing? Because I know sometimes you get a chance to go out there to practice too, but what are you looking most forward to, the storyline, I should say, you're looking most forward to with training camp starting up this week?
Golly, I want to see the O-line. We had to replace a lot of O-line.
Mm-hmm.
I think the story is going to write itself for Manning. That's just going to happen, right? And I want to see the defensive line, man. I'm a big man at heart. Football is always going to be hand-to-hand combat, so it's the trenches for me. I'm ready to hear, who's doing well, who's doing better than expected, who's needs a little bit of footwork and things like that. So I'm looking forward to getting out there. I was going to go out there. They started today, right?
I think Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
I believe Wednesday.
Well, CJ, you got to let me know whenever they're going to put pads on. That's when I'm going out there.
Man, hopefully soon. By the weekend.
You got to wait till next week. I think Sark goes through like a whole like a week of just shells and helmets, stuff like that. And then, Stevie, it ain't like when we played, man. We're just talking to Coach about that. We had actual two-a-days back in the day. You don't have that. Thank God, by the way. You don't need that. You don't need that much.
Quick, funny story. I was getting on and I yelled at my daughter to go upstairs and grab my helmet off the shelf because, you had your helmet on last week. So I got it right here next to me. Hey. She comes down and brings it in my office in here and she goes, "Why is it so heavy?" I was like, yeah, it was that old school plastic. Heavy, and we use it as a weapon. Unfortunately, we use it as a weapon.
Why is it so heavy? That's because it's got a lot to protect, man. It's important.
Did it really?
Does it still fit?
Have
you tried it on? You ain't even tried it on.
I tried it on, but my chin guard is all the way up here now. So I
don't even know what that means. Like,
it's I tried it on and I got a headache, so I took it right off. But it amused me. Remember the BCS?
Oh, man. See,
back in the BCS days.
Beautiful. I like that. I wish my helmet had one of them.
Yeah. No, man. So it's tight, bro. So I'm going to get in the gym, lose a couple inches on my face, and then I'll try it on for y'all.
I'm going to lose some weight on my face. First time I heard that. Oh, it's great. Stevie, let me ask you this, just really quick, because you were talking about how you think the arch narrative is going to take care of itself. You said it's going to take care of itself. Where do you think Arch is going to what do you anticipate growing pains? I should say. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Like, are we basically saying that this kid's gonna hit the ground running, and we don't anticipate any growing pains at all for a young Arch?
I think, and I've seen a little bit of the growing pains in practice, so it's a exclusive release right now. I think that one of the things that Coach yelled at him in practice about was every play does not have to be a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the growing pains is actually checking down to the crossing receiver or the tight end. Just give me 8 yards and get the first down, and we'll reconvene. I think that's the growing pains for him. I love his mentality though. Everything that you draw up can be a touchdown, and it's gonna be, But sometimes you take what the defense gives you and you live to fight another down, So I think that's the growing pains that I think that we're going to see from Arch, and quite honestly from Ewers, it's a polar opposite for me. It was like, come on, Ewers, get the ball downfield instead of dropping it down underneath so much. So I think that we may see that a lot, and don't get frustrated. I like the kid's mentality for that, though.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the game that grows with Arch, right? And Stevie, to your point, I think there were a number of times last year, even in the select instances that we saw him on the field where it was, hey, we're pushing the ball 10, 15, 30 yards down the field when, you got a guy in the flats. You've got a guy waiting down low to check down to. And for Quinn, to your point, it felt like it was just the instant, okay, my first read in there, okay, get the ball out. And you can't go broke taking profit, right? But you can never hit the jackpot if you're only paying, the taking the first profit that comes to you. So that balance for Quinn or for Arch this year is going to be really interesting because I do think there's going to be that push to hit the jackpot on just about every play early. And I don't know against Ohio State if that's the recipe.
Gotcha. Can't go broke if you're taking a profit.
I think.
Let them put that on my wall back here.
Yeah, he's right because Sark talks about that, right? Take that check down. If it's there, that's an easy 5 to 6 yards. Turn your third and long to a third and short, third and medium. Let me ask you this: who do you think is going to be his go-to guy? Who's Arch's go-to guy? Is it simple?
I don't know, man, because that's a great question. I don't know because he spread the ball around a lot, even in practice. I think that. Whomever our starting running back is going to be, we're going to be surprised on how much time they're going to catch it out of the end zone, the backfield.
I wouldn't. Sark loves that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. They worked on that a lot in practice. Am I telling too much? So
no, you good.
Make sure no SEC teams in the chat.
Hey, y'all talking too much around them.
Yeah. All of a sudden, my Wi-Fi goes down. So
we were talking earlier. You may have been on the phone. We were talking earlier about how much full contact is there going to be, before the first game week. So when you guys are in shorts and shoulder pads and you're doing pass pro and you're doing blitz and stuff against the ones versus ones, is that pretty much full speed?
Yeah, when it's just the ones, the defense and the defensive line and offensive line, we're full speed. Right. Yes,
doing one-on-ones and then maybe team combo twist and X's and stuff.
Yeah, we're full speed with that. Now, I do remember when we had veterans coming back, we didn't do as much full pad, 100% go type stuff. We knew how to practice that and knew how to take care of each other, but still practice and get a good practice in. With so many new offensive linemen that's coming in right now, and some new defensive linemen that are in, I think that they're gonna probably go all out much more than in the past.
Can I ask you this, Steve? This might be a dumb question on defensive line talk, but obviously having never played the position, I don't know how to relate to it in a sense, but we talk about cohesiveness and gelling on the offensive line. Is it that same kind of stance on the defensive line, or is it You know, because you look at hockey line shifts and you say, okay, I know I work well with this guy, and every time he's on the ice, I'm on the ice. Is it like that at all on the defensive line at all?
Yes, you have to have chemistry, man, for sure. You got to have chemistry with your linebacker too. And your linebacker got to know what your tendencies are, because the play may call for me to have outside shoulder, but I may fake inside, and I don't want to fake my linebacker out and think that I'm going inside and he has outside, and then we're both stuck in the same gap. So you got to have chemistry with your end and your other tackle, and also your linebackers as well. And to take it a step further, the elite defensive linemen, even defensive tackles, they even know what the secondary is doing. You know what I mean? So if it's a pass play and I know that they're covered 2, I know that I need to get back there ASAP, you know? So, I'm getting back there ASAP either way it goes, but it's just, you know, you got to know definitely what your linebackers are doing, and the best ones know what the DBs are in the secondary is doing as well. So yes, you gotta have it all in there.
Stevie, I was thinking about that this past weekend. I watched the F1 movie. Have y'all seen that?
Not yet.
I'm a huge fan of F1.
It's a great movie. I mean, and for the ladies or your wives, my wife loved it as much as I did. It was a great movie, but it reminded me of what you're talking about, Stevie, because those F1, I mean, they're teams, you know, and so you got one guy. It's kind of like on a defensive line, you know. You may be holding an offensive lineman and pulling him over for the linebacker to be able to blitz through, and a lot of people don't know that or don't realize that you're trying to take a guy's responsibility, a guy that's supposed to block one of your teammates. You're supposed to take that guy out of the play so that your teammate can make the play, and stuff like that. People, and that's that chemistry, I guess, you're talking about, and a lot of lay people that haven't played sports above, you know, youth league or you know, we did this in high school, so I'm sure most. But if you haven't played on the line, you don't realize that it's a very unselfish position.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's especially in the 3 technique. A lot of times they ran a lot of traps in the Big 12, the old Big 12 back then, and so that if I'm in a 3 technique, I took on that guard and that tackle. And and whenever I feel both of them on me, it's illegal. It was illegal. You gotta be inside and grab the chest plate and just fall down and have that guy pile up on you. Hence the reason why Derrek Johnson made $100 million in the league. So that's exactly why he made $100 million. He's quick and fast, but we were taking on the offensive lineman so he can run and do whatever he needed to do.
He was you basically asked to sacrifice yourself at that point. Like, you're not going to be able to make the play likely with 2 guys on you, but can you occupy those 2 guys and help us get the count back? Help us get the numbers advantage back in our favor. And to Coach's point, guys, I watch a lot of film. You have no idea. Most sacks, I would say half sacks, the guys who got the sack, they may have made the play, but they didn't create the play. Like, a lot of times the play was created, like Coach was saying, by a twist and a stun, and then, you know, obviously the scheme. And even though that guy makes the play, he didn't necessarily create that play. That play was created by a lot of unselfish work up front. So good point there, Stevie. All right, so
we're talking football now, man. This is awesome.
Man, it's time. It's time, damn it. It's time. Steve, we won't keep you too much longer, man, because we know you got actual work to do. So thank you for taking the time, and thank you for the knowledge and the expertise, and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, man. And that F1 movie is good, man. Y'all need to go see it. I love F1. Every time it comes to Austin, I'm there, man. And last year it was F1 and the Georgia game. So I left the track to go straight to the Georgia game. And then the next day I went back up to the track. I love F1, man.
I wish I'd have known that, man, because I was up there too.
You were?
Yeah, I was up there actually all 3 days for last year. And it was right. It was doing that Georgia weekend too. So I was keeping up with it. So
I was there all 3 days as well. You should have told me, man. We could have hung out.
I didn't know another brother was into it like that. I'd have hit you next time. I'll text you, hit you up.
Listen, I'm so into it. I want to go to Silverstone next year, so I'm trying to work that thing out right there. Also, did y'all give up something for the 40 days last week?
Oh, I
Nope.
I did. I don't recall. I don't.
Yeah,
recall.
exactly.
Did I recall? What did you give up again? What did you give up again?
I was giving up beer. I don't drink beer anyway, so that's what I was giving up.
You know what? I'm gonna guess what? I should give up something that I don't necessarily like anyway. You know what? I'm gonna give up white condiments. Boom. You can have it. All right.
White condiment. What's a white condiment?
Like ranch?
Ranch.
Mayo?
Mayo, if it's white and it's a condiment.
Horseradish?
Yeah, take it out. Yeah, but whatever. If it's white,
that's easy because black people don't eat that anyway.
People like ranch. All right, we're gonna let Stevie go for. Oh, we all get in trouble. All right,
Yeah, Stevie.
Oh man, lifetime Longhorn by former teammate Stevie.
I'm giving up marathon running these 40 days.
I like that, Coach.
There you go. Boom. I'm give up stuff you ain't gonna do anyway. There you go. I like that.
Don't give up running.
Yeah. I didn't. So I got to see the F1 movie then, because now you and Stevie have both
I'm
seen
telling
it.
you, great.
And I've heard nothing but good things about it, Coach. Uh-oh.
My wife, I said, you know what F1 stands for? She goes, yeah, Ferrari won. And I'm can't hear her say that. She got to come in and bust this door down and beat my butt. But I go, yeah, that's it. Ferrari won. You're gonna like this movie. You know more about it than I thought you did.
At least she's choosing for the team Ferrari though. Is she can talk about the team Ferrari?
They're
like an all-time
very
great,
good.
Yeah, blue blood F1 team. But yeah, I just got into it. I got invited to like host a basically like a suite up there for a couple of days at F1, and it was freaking awesome. Not gonna lie. So once you experience it, you will be a fan. But I gotta watch the movie because now I'm hearing nothing but good things.
Yeah, Brad Pitt does a great job. He's really an outstanding actor. I mean,
he's one of the greatest of our generation. One of the greatest actors of our generation.
But he does a great job. And you remember the guy, No Country for Old what is it?
Oh yeah, Javier Bardem. Is it Javier Bardem?
Yeah, man. Oh yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
Now he's great at everything. Yeah. Yeah. No, they got a great cast.
If you haven't watched No Country for Old Men, CJ, as soon as we sign off, you need to watch it. It's a cult classic.
Got it on the list, Coach.
Modern Western. It's one of the great modern Westerns. Have you seen it, CJ? No,
I've not seen it.
Okay, I agree with Coach. When you get done,
Shakur. What was it? Shakur? Something Shakur was his name on the.
You're right.
Anton.
Yes, Anton Shakur. Yeah, Anton Shakur. Yeah, he's basically. Well, I'm gonna spoil it. We can't spoil it for him, Coach. Can't spoil it. All right, we can't spoil it for them.
Yeah, that's right. That's my twin brother separated at birth. No Country for Old Coaches. I love it.
That's unbelievable.
That's a great Matthew. That's a great one.
I will second Coach's recommendation, though. He's right. It's worth your time, CJ. So just put it on there, and you want to watch it before football season starts up, because then you ain't gonna have no time to just randomly watch a movie. So get it in. All right. Thanks to my man Stevie Lee, and thanks to our friends over at Hard Grove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. Heads, tails, CJ, call it.
Always heads. I'm not a tails guy.
I never lose a toss. It's always heads I win, tails you lose.
So, Coach, you would tell your players always in the coin toss, always take heads?
No, we always took tails.
Hold on, Coach.
I said heads I win, tails you lose. That way you win either way.
I know it's confused. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. It's like a joke grenade. I'm gonna pull the pin, throw it out there. It takes a little while.
It's got to roll a little bit. Let it roll a little bit.
You know, Coach, did y'all have in high school as the head coach, whatever, would y'all talk before games with other head coaches, be like, all right, you can start on offense, we want the ball, predetermine the coin flip for the most part?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Never.
Because there were times in high school, Coach, where we'd be sitting in the locker room ready to go out, run the tunnel. Obviously, the captains haven't yet met, and Coach is sitting there and go, we're getting the ball first. Like,
well, now, okay, here's what happens. So, okay, I get you now. So when sometimes some officials will do it this way, and some coaches like to do it, when you're leaving the field after pregame warm-up, you'll meet behind the stands or maybe on the field or whatever, and go ahead and do the coin toss then.
Okay.
That's what it is. And then so that you know what to get ready for going out there. Yeah. But it's never just said, you never just say, hey, let's make a deal here. It's never that. Okay, and I never kicked off. I wanted tails and I'm going to take the ball every time.
I like getting the ball first too, and hearing that there was some black magic before the actual coin flip with the captains going out on the field. It broke my heart, Coach, because it was like finding out the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and Santa Claus were.
Yeah.
I thought that coin flip was the end all be all, and it turns out more times than not wasn't the case.
Well, there should have been done at the. Well, who did we play at Jerry's World? And we messed up.
UCLA.
UCLA messed up the toss. And the referee even asked him, "Are you sure? You want this is what you want to do?" Yeah.
Oh,
I can't even remember now specifically what it was. He said we want to kick off. That's what he said. He said we want to kick off.
He asked you if you defer.
And what you're supposed to say is you defer.
Yeah.
Because we want to make the choice start in the second half. He said, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Yes, we want to kick off." And so that means you had to kick off 2 halves in a row because you made your decision. Now the other team gets to choose what they want to do the second half. Of course, they want the ball.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
That was a tough one to stomach right there. All right, let's get to we got a super chat here. How about this one? Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop, says, Matthew, can we get the CJ Selly? What's the celebration for? What we celebrate? I guess football season. That's all we celebrate.
So
I guess
practice week.
You're right about that, Sugarcane Daddy. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. We appreciate it. Alex here with a question. So do y'all think we see a push for Baxter/Weister draft stock since losing 2 running backs to the NFL is better than to the portal, and no way we maintain a 7-man running back room next year? I know Weister's getting a lot of love, some more love than he was, I should say that. What are you guys' thoughts? Do I think we see a push for a Baxter-Weister draft stock since, obviously Texas with that running back room, if guys come back, it's going to be a loaded room. My first world problems for Texas, but what are you guys' thoughts overall about the running back depth in that room?
Look, it's a healthy room for Texas, right? I think obviously only having Derrek Cooper in the class right now, you're expecting that 2-back continual class, basically the 2 backs coming in every year to cease with Derrek Cooper being the only back this year. That's my plan, but if you're CJ Baxter, I don't think it'll take much pushing at all to depart for the NFL. You know that you're on borrowed time given your knee situation, given that the life of a running back isn't as lengthy as it was back in the day or even is considered to be today. So for Trey Wisner, if you go out and have 800, 900 yards, once again, look, there's almost 2,000 yards in 2 seasons in SEC play. You're gone, right? It's a foregone conclusion. You're off to the NFL. If you're CJ Baxter, I even look at it in this case. If you have 400, 500, anything in that range, I'm hitting the road too, because I know that I don't have as much tread on my tires as I might have had beforehand because of that knee. I need to get those NFL guaranteed monies while I still can. So it shouldn't be too much to take for either of them to depart. And if that's the case, well, look, Texas is still in a very healthy situation with Jarrett Gibson, Christian Clark, James Simon, Ricky Stewart, and the eventual eventual arrival of Derrek Cooper, but that's a healthy room all in all. It's going to take a lot for me to say that one of Baxter or Wisner will return next year.
Yeah. And you've been, you got the best streak going of the developing NFL running backs or putting guys into the draft at the running back position with 5 running backs drafted in the last 3 years. No school's putting up those kind of numbers. And so I'm with you about the CJ Baxter thing. I think, Coach, if CJ, it depends on the opponents he has those big games against. That's what scouts want to see, right, Coach? If he goes up against some of his big games or against Georgia and against A&M for that matter, like teams that have a lot of NFL talent on them, I think that will matter more than just the overall production, him having 800-900 yards, whatever it may be. That'd be great. But I think they want to see him in those big games show up.
Yeah, I agree. So you guys think there's a chance that we lose both running backs after the season?
I hope so. because that would mean they had good years, right? That means Trey White had another great year, and C.J. Baxter must have had, like C.J. says, over 500, maybe 600 yards, or more or better. So I'm hoping that is the case. People say something about Arch. You're like, man, I hope Arch takes the other. Like, actually, I don't. I hope Arch has the greatest season in the history of college football, and everybody's like, you got nothing else to prove. You won the national title. You won the Heisman. You're the best quarterback far and away. There were no growing pains. Why the hell would you come back to school? And people are like, that's crazy. Like, if he leaves to go to the draft, that would mean he had like unfathomable success. Like, even with the hype now, we still couldn't. If he leaves, that means he exceeded all the hype and expectations. Could you imagine that? He's a Heisman front runner right now. People, I look at 2 mock drafts today that both had him going number 1 overall from 2 draft analysts. And one at Athlon Sports, and one was Thor Nystrom, who does a really good job. It's one of my favorite draft analysts. But even though everybody knows that the Manning's MO is to stay in school, multiple years as a starter, to get developed, because they all know the NFL is not a developmental league. People are still predicting them to be number 1 overall. So at this point, I'm hoping they all leave. Like, that would mean Texas had an amazing season.
Well, they're going to have to have a great season, Baxter and Wisner and the rest of that room, for Arch to be successful.
I agree. Take some pressure off of them.
And I look for Wisner to have a big game against Ohio State, because I feel like that Ohio State will be trying to throw everything at Arch to get his timing off and stuff he hasn't seen, wasn't expecting. And, you can't go to sleep on Wisner in that running game, because they may just get a healthy dose of Wisner to start the game and kind of see how things play out.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Limit the exposure. If they're going to be throwing, like you said, all these exotic looks at them, and I'm with you, Coach. I would.
Yeah, don't put that game on Arch's shoulders. Do not put that first game on his shoulders. You let those running backs in that line win the game, or at least take control of the game. Loosen them up a little bit, then you turn the reins loose and let them go.
Yeah, and I would, to your point, Coach, let that defense too. I mean, because the way you want to win, you can win with running game and defense in that game. Because your defense is going to be good enough where, they shouldn't be scoring in the 30s against you. Like, it should be, it should be a game relatively you can keep them to the low 20s. And Texas should be able to win any game like that. So I agree with you. Running game and defense, that may disappoint some Longhorn fans because they want to see Arch go off early on, and he might. But I'm with you, Coach. You don't need to put too much on his shoulders early. All right. Thank you for that question, Alex. Let's get to one. Let's thank a sponsor. We'll get back to some of you guys' questions here. Let's thank our friends over at Flat Creek Estate Winery. Our friends at Flat Creek Estate Winery, really appreciate them and their ongoing support of On Texas football. Did you know the most awarded wine in Texas is actually a vineyard that is very close to downtown Austin? That's right, folks. Flat Creek Estate Winery, just minutes from downtown Austin, and they've won award after award for their vintage wine Super Texan. Most recently, they entered the Super Texan into the San Francisco Wine Festival. It scored a 98 out of 100. That's right. It was named the top red blend in the country. So hands down, our friends over at Flat Creek have the Super Texan, which not only the best red blend in the state, but the best red blend in the country. You can find it at your local Specs, your local HEB. I saw it displayed at our local Central Market. But not only is the Super Texan great, but the Pinot Grigio is really good. The Rosé is really refreshing. They have a lot of great wines over at Flat Creek Estate Winery. They also have a gorgeous venue where they produce these premium wines. They also have barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend, perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with your significant other. That's Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com. All right. CB wants to know, does the 1,000-yard running back streak continue?
Look, if Texas plays 14 games, that means you only need an average of 71 yards over those 14 games for one of those running backs. I think so with Wisner. He would be my first pick to get that again, which, again, coming into his career at Texas, I don't know if anybody anticipated 2,000-yard seasons for him, but Wisner is my pick right now to carry that streak out. We'll see if C.J. Baxter gets up to speed. But, again, I'm thinking they ease him in quite a bit, and by then, is there enough season enough meat on the bone for him to get back to that 1,000-yard streak or so. We'll see. But 71 yards is the number for Trey Wisner over a 14-game season. We'll see.
Yeah, Sark is pretty stubborn about it. He's pretty bullish on that. And he brags about that streak.
Yes.
He brags about it. There'll be a question or something about running the football, and he'll bring that streak up. So he's proud of it. I'm going to say it does continue because Texas is going to play a lot of games. I'm with you, CJ. 14 at least. I think, you could be back up to 16, 17. I think Texas will have a 1,000-yard back. And it likely will be Wisner. I just don't know if Cedric Baxter will be early that he'll be ready that early in the season. Actually, I prefer it like that too. I would love to have Trey Wisner as your lead back for the first half of the season, and then CJ Baxter as you're kind of taking over for the lead back. And like Coach said, you can just wear Trey Wisner down for the first 7-8 games. Just make him your workhorse, and then just slowly try to ease that workload over to a fresh CJ Baxter for the second half of the season. Still using both guys though, but just changing kind of the burden that you put on each back for a game. And then by the end of the season, you just basically got two starting backs to finish the season. That's how I visualize it, but it never goes according to plan. That's how I like to see it. Frank wants to know what's going on with DJ Lagway. Yeah, for those who haven't heard, DJ Lagway, apparently with Florida starting up their training camp, he has been in a boot as he deals with a minor lower leg injury ahead of fall camp. That was reported by, I think, Gators Online, I believe, reported that. So, yeah, I know you, CJ, you said that is one of those games where Longhorn fans, haven't been talking enough about how dangerous going to the Swamp could be with DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway's health, I think, is the biggest factor. Right? Yeah. How dangerous that team can be. And I don't know. Like I said, last year he dealt with health issues. There was speculation in the offseason he was dealing with something, but we didn't know if that was just rumor or conjecture to start training camp. Minor leg issue.
Yeah, minor leg issue, but he's in a boot. I've been told it's a calf strain of some sort. And look, if you follow the NBA, you hear calf strain and think, uh-oh, right? And look, a lot of I don't even want to say the A word here, Rod, Coach, because that's a terrifying injury to go down. But calf strain is synonymous with a whole lot of caution coming. So if that's the case for DJ Lagway, look, you gotta take care of your body as much as you can. It's like hearing a sore elbow in baseball because you know what that could eventually lead to, and that would be a long sidelined stay if you're DJ Lagway. But look, he already had questions about his shoulder coming into the season, right? There were injuries in high school in which he should have got tended to, and he kind of pushed it off, or his camp pushed it off, and then you get to college, and well, it's no longer 195-pound edge rushers hitting you, right? These kids are a little bit bigger in the SEC. So for DJ, I know that this is a game playing Texas is one that he circled on his calendar a year ago, was unable to perform in. This year he gets to host the Longhorns. I'm hoping that he's on the field because that's a game in which you look at saying DJ Lagway, Arch Manning facing off against one another. I don't know if there's two more exciting young quarterbacks, and I say young given Arch first year starting, DJ Lagway a true sophomore. That is so good for college football. It's so good for the SEC, and if we're robbed of that again this year, that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah. No, they play like a different team with Lagway in there. And he's not necessarily that efficient at the quarterback position. That's probably because of just inexperience.
Yeah.
But he's a force multiplier at that position. He just changes the dynamics, and he's probably got the strongest deep ball arm in college football. He launches, and he can launch it from a lot of different angles too. But I don't know if they have the skill guys around him, but he makes everybody around him better when he plays. So I'm with you on that. All right, getting back to question. Sark After Dark says, who will the goal line running backs be? That's a good one, Coach. Who do you think is going to be pounding the rock for Texas? Short yardage, goal line. Is it just Baby Rhino? Do we trust Baby Rhino?
I think it would have to be. I don't know who else. I don't know who else could. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Depending on CJ Baxter's health, I would bet.
Baxter can do it. But Baxter can do it. If Baxter's healthy, the question is, at what point in the season is he going to be completely healthy? Is that, how early in the season? Baby Rhino seems like he's that guy. There have been 2 running backs since Sark has been here at Texas. And the play caller, and of course, the play designer, the offensive guru. 2 running backs who have finished the season with more gap power runs than zone runs. And they're Jared Gibson and Cedric Baxter. Wow. So those are the 2 guys who I think they like in those situations. CB says tush push. Don't we think at one point Texas tried the tush push? Do you remember what game that was? And I think it failed miserably.
Yeah, they tried to run it against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And I think Quinn got up. There was a fumble on a play very similar to that on the QB sneak. And I think Quinn got up and was like, all right, that's not for me. And I think Sark was like, yeah, that's not for him. But, hey, they ran it against Mississippi State, kind of their own version of the tush push with Arch Manning. They ran it 3 times in a row. They didn't get it the first 2 times. And that, again, goes back to where the offensive line struggles are. Yeah. But also – it was a good teaching moment, and Sark talked about this afterward. He started yelling at Arch after the touchdown, saying, hey, if you QB sneak at any point in your career, you cannot be the first one up from that pile. In fact, keep inching further and further and further while they can't see you that they mark the ball further than where it's supposed to be. And there was an instance, I think it was on 2nd down, Arch thought he was in the end zone, got up immediately. The refs looked around and said, oh, man,
I didn't see it.
Tell. And then the next play, obviously, he was down on the ground past the end zone. They call it a score, but good learning moment for Arch in his own right there. But that's going to be a big, maybe not a big part, because I don't think you want Arch taking as many hits in the scrum still. But you'll certainly see that QB sneak, tush push integrated into this offense.
The QB sneak is the most effective short yardage play in football. Oh, yeah. Under center QB sneak. I mean, the numbers back it up. I could find them for you, but the numbers overwhelmingly say that is the most effective one. Texas doesn't go under center a lot. So when they go under center, of course, everybody knows what's coming. But I will say for Texas, they just have struggled, Coach, with those power situations, basically short yardage goal line situations. They're a big O-line, but not necessarily a physical O-line. They weren't. Just a different O-line. They weren't bullies. That O-line, I mean, you had all those guys are in the league right now. Like all those guys that were starting on the O-line. So you had tremendous talent. But their strength was not to play bully ball. And I wonder if this O-line, maybe their strength is, no, we can play bully ball. We actually can get into some bully situation, which in my opinion, power situation. Short yardage with everybody in the stadium, including the opposing DC and the opposing D-line. Everybody knows they're running the football here. And they're trying to get 2 yards, or they're trying to get 1.5 yards, whatever it may be. Texas hasn't been great in those situations. I think that's also why the red zone offense isn't as effective and efficient as it should be. Because I think a lot of times they just can't win in those power situations consistently.
I think the person that makes the biggest difference, or should make the biggest difference in that play, which is very difficult to do, is the center. And I'm not blaming it on the center, but I mean, you've got to snap with one hand, you've got to punch with the other hand at the same time. Meanwhile, you probably got 2 ones coming right at you, just trying to stack you up. If you can just hold your own for any time at all, it's an almost impossible task for a center to do. It just is. You're at a disadvantage every play because you can only use one hand.
And I think that's why you see a lot of quarterbacks take the snap from under center and go, a gap or 2 to the right or to the left. And then on top of that, Coach, Cole Hudson was a guy playing in the triple option offense in high school. Now back at center, how much does that help him, having been
a lot
in an offense that, you're basically head down moving forward no matter what in that offense?
A lot. You remember the offensive lineman in the wishbone would be in a 4-point stance, and the center would have his offhand down too. And he's down and his butt's in the air like this. I mean, yeah. And if he's used to doing that, it's certainly going to help us in short yardage situation. I did not. I remember you saying that before, but I had forgot about that.
That's a good point. That's a great nugget there, CJ. I love that you brought up how Sark criticized Arch. Just say that's just a young QB, right? Getting up like, hey, I got it. I got over it. It's like, well, the refs didn't see that. The ref, you need to stay down there.
No, you didn't. Get back down.
Yeah, until they clear the pile. And while they're clearing the pile, you can get some extra inches, man. You get a couple extra inches down there. Like, oh, I got the ball there. I never thought about that, but that's brilliant. Underneath that scrum, there's a lot going on. Underneath that scrum down there. All right, good stuff there, guys, with the questions. Appreciate that. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on. Let's thank our friends over at Von Lane, and we appreciate them very much and their ongoing support of Texas football and for sponsoring the winning drive. Now, folks, we know it can be a bit of a hassle traveling to the major Texas cities, trying to get to Houston, trying to get to Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, trying to get to Austin. And, do you deal with the airport chaos? Hope your flight isn't delayed and deal with the general high stress of any airport experience? Or do you try to drive yourself and hope, that you don't have to deal with traffic and then you're dealing with road rage? You're burning an entire day of productivity while you're driving on the road. Well, the third option is the best option, and it's Von Lane. All right, Von Lane is great. I've taken it several times myself for business. I've taken it for personal reasons to Houston, to DFW. I love it. My wife loves it as well. And you will too. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal, no TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience that takes minutes, not hours. You settle into one of just 22 plush, oversized, first-class leather seats with 140-degree recline, leg rest, and a cabin attendant serving complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, a full meal if you'd like. And if you need to relax, it's simple. Just lean back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to stay productive, oftentimes, like I like to do on those long trips, there's high-speed Wi-Fi and power at every seat. So fall travel right now is booking fast. So reserve your spot now for October trips to Texas versus OU in Dallas, F1 and ACL in Austin, or college football weekends in Nashville, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. Von Lane connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis, and now adding Knoxville as well, the Woodlands, and Plano. They just keep adding major cities to this list. So visit vonlane.com. You can get all the info there, VONLANE.com. Use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane Elevated Regional Bus Transportation. Thank you very much to our friends over at Von Lane. We appreciate them sponsoring the winning drive. All right, I was getting to something before Stevie came on about the ESPN interview that Sark recently did. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, and it was pretty good. They did a walking interview. Sark did, and the reason was because Sark revealed to start the interview that after every practice he takes a walk. He said because of the health scare that he had a few years back, doctors said, hey, you got to stay in good shape. You need to exercise, but you can't have strenuous exercise, right? You can't stress yourself too much or stress your body too much, but you do need to get some moderate exercise, and you need to do it consistently. And so Sark says he walks after every practice, coach. I believe he said for an hour, they know not to bother him after practice. And they said, so you go straight to watch film? He's like, no, I go for a walk. And coach, this is what he revealed. And I bet some people have like saw this and probably thought their mind was playing tricks on him. He says he just leaves the practice field and just walks in any direction. He doesn't know where he's going. He just starts his watch, and he said he walks for like 30 minutes, and then wherever he walks right back. Because he doesn't want to get lost because he doesn't know Austin that well. So I'm like, man, that is all. Yeah, I guess he got a phone. You should just put it in your maps, a GPS there, whatever. All right, Sark's old school like me. But I thought that was a cool story because I bet some people have been driving like, it looked like Coach Sark. There's no way Sark's walking down Main or just right on the east side. It's like, they might be. That might have been Sark.
No, I used to do that. In fact, I've got a funny story about that. I used to walk during noon, and Tom Herman would occasionally call a staff meeting out of the blue. Yeah, and so I'm on this walk, and I like to go up by Hemp-Hill Park. It's kind of between Duval and Guadalupe. There's Hemp-Hill Drive or whatever. It's like an avenue. It's got grass down the middle and a little, kind of creek type thing that runs through it. And it's a beautiful old neighborhood. I used to love to go walking through there. And I was as far as I could get, and all of a sudden staff meeting, 10 minutes. And I'm like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. So I ran over to Duval and found one of those limes or something, And you talking about looking like a bear riding a tricycle in a circus? I was on that sucker, and I wasn't slow. Boom, boom. I mean, I was getting it. I walked in just in time, but I'm telling you, man, this big old, I weighed about 30 more pounds in, and I'm riding that thing all the way down. I go across 38.
Oh my!
Yeah.
And those streets are not good for those scooters, Coach.
No, it wasn't good for me if I'd have failed. If I'd have had a wreck too, because
man,
I'd have been out of commission.
That is awesome. Oh, it was just a way to watch that, Coach. I bet that was hilarious.
It was not fun. It was I was pumped when I made it back. I was exhilarated. But
man, I can't believe he just he called a meeting when that was not. But you got to be there in 10 minutes. Like he wouldn't give you no place.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, nobody ever went out. Everybody ate, in the dining hall, or they ate, or most people exercise in the weight room or something.
So everybody was close anyway.
Oh yeah,
long walks. Oh man, that's good stuff, Coach. That's a great story. All right, I want to get so that's a little nugget about Sark. So if you thought at one point, I could have sworn that was Sark walking down the street.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have put it out there publicly like that though.
You know what? That's a good point. Because remember, Charlie used to go running. Coach Strong would go running. He told people. I remember I said the same thing, Coach. He was like, I go running. And I think one time he told the time that he would go run or whatever like that. And I was like, he better watch it because Longhorn fans are wild. They go out there running with you and give you their thoughts about the game and everything. But he said nobody ever bothered him. And he said every now and then people would look at him and like, I think I know that's Coach Strong.
Like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, but I think he would do it early in the morning. So it was a lot of people out anyway. Sark is doing this right after practice, Coach. So whenever practice is, which sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes in the middle of the day, whatever, he just goes for a walk. And I'm with you. I was like, I don't know if he should have. Does he have security with him when he's doing this?
I don't know. Coach Strong probably lucky that those line scooters weren't around when he was coaching. So I'd be riding right next to him. So taking on both halves. What are we doing?
Like coin toss. Like coin toss.
But to add to Sark, he does this a little bit on game days, right? Because the team at home, they'll come down Bevo Boulevard. They'll be looking all fly in their suits, and they'll walk up that ramp and go immediately into Moncrief, right? They'll go right on into the locker room and get dressed. Well, instead of going right into the locker room up those stairs, he'll take a left and just take a lap on the field. So if you get to DKR very early, and I'm saying like an hour and a half, hour 45 before these games, when these maybe 2 hours, because you get there pretty early for the team, you'll watch the team move in. And then if you're in the stadium, you'll see just Sarkisian, probably a camera crew, and his right-hand man security guy just walk the perimeter of the field. And he'll be slow with it. And as always, he gets to the student section. If it's a big game, he'll give him a little rile up. But then immediately he'll get to the other side where the opponent's locker room entrance is, headphones back in the zone. And he does that on game day too. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I think I have seen some footage of him kind of walking around. And he says on these walks, though, he makes big decisions at times. Sometimes he ain't thinking about football at all. Sometimes he's thinking about practice, what kind of practice they just had. So he's come up with play designs. Remember the flea flicker in the Big 12 title game?
Yeah.
They threw, I think it was a third down. He said, we're at 3rd and 2. I think he said, no matter where we are on the field, he said he decided on that walk and they were going to do that play. So he decides sometimes this guy's going to start over this guy on the walk. So the walks are, they're very productive for Sark. So there you go. If you see Sark walking the street, leave him alone, by the way. All right, because he's making decisions, right? You don't want to interrupt this train of thought there. Okay, something else I wanted to get into is the Shrine Bowl. You guys see this list, the Shrine Bowl? They come up with I believe it's 1,000 players they put total on this list. Draft eligible players, like who's ever identified the top 1,000 All-Star game NFL draft eligible players from all around the country at every level of college football. Y'all want to guess what team has the most draft eligible players on this top 1,000 player list for the Shrine Bowl?
I saw it. Coach, you got any answers?
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I thought I did, but apparently I don't because I don't know. I really don't know. I would say Ohio State.
It's not Texas.
It's not Texas. Actually doesn't have that many. because to our point, Texas is still young though. They're a younger
Right. That's right.
team. They got a lot of talent, but it's not draft eligible just yet. Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, that was my reaction too, Coach. Like, what?
Yeah, the Red Raiders, to show you how much they've been cleaning up in the transfer portal. Texas Tech has the most players on this Shrine Bowl top 1,000 player list here. I think it's 24 they have. They said there are a few teams that have 20 players in the 20s. They said here that Texas Tech had the most, and I counted 24. So that must be the most in the country. So
wow.
Big expectations for Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's now or never. If you're Joey McGuire, now or never.
Man. So
You know
what? Were they picked to win it? They didn't do a Big 12 poll, did they? They didn't do
No,
one.
they did not.
Okay.
Big
You know
12
what they
said,
say,
hey,
get your grades up or get your guns up.
now let's get your money up.
Get your money up.
Yeah.
There was a
They
report that 30%, like basically they have to pay a 30% almost tax, or like a 30% increase in their deals, revenue deals, and NIL deals, just because it's West Texas. Nobody wants to live out there. So they're paying 30% more to recruits just to get them, or transfer portal acquisitions just to get them to West Texas. Is it that bad in West Texas, Coach?
No, I love West Texas.
There you go.
I really do. I mean,
See?
I can't speak for Lubbock. I've never, I could stay in the hood if I want to be called MFer. I don't have to go to Texas Tech to do that, which I get called every time I go there. But good people out here, man. Good people. Like I said, I love Amarillo, great people. Abilene, great people. I don't know about Lubbock, but if I'm from the Southeast, you might as well go to, the Sahara Desert or something. It'd be look about the same.
Yeah, no kidding.
Listen, like I said, that was just a report. Like I said, I'm not saying that, but there was a report that that's what Texas is doing. Either way, I will see. It's a grand experiment what Texas is doing right now with Cody Campbell, the billionaire who is really kind of funding all this. Their sugar daddy. I can't wait to see what they do with it. It'll be a coveted job, though. I'll say that. If they underachieve and if they end up moving on from Coach McGuire, that's going to be. They may take a coveted job. They may be able to steal a damn good coach from somewhere, just because they've shown now we have the resources to compete. Not a lot of schools have those kind of resources. All right, can I ask you guys about the Deion Sanders story? Yeah. I thought it was going to be bad news, and I'm glad I was wrong. Anytime somebody brings their doctors to a press conference or media availability, I was thinking, damn, probably going to be some bad news. Was not bad news, actually. It was announced that by Deion and his medical team, Deion has been battling cancer. And actually, after surgery, he thank you very much, Matthew. After surgery to remove a tumor on his bladder, they have announced that he's cancer-free.
It's great news.
Ready to return to coaching. I'm so glad. I had a little knot in my stomach. Everybody knows I'm a big Deion fan. Love me some Deion. Wore 21 because of Deion. So I'm happy that he's had a lot of medical, issues post-playing career. So I'm glad one of those is potentially behind him, that he's cancer-free. I actually didn't even know he was dealing with that. He kind of dealt with it, I think, kind of off the grid. I mean, there was not a lot of headlines about that. There was speculation that he was going through something because people said he wasn't spotted on campus a lot. And there were people that said that he wasn't traveling as much, and we didn't know the reason. This turns out this was the reason. So great news for Deion and his family. Great news for Colorado as well, because he's going to continue to be the coach.
Great news for college football. Because I think Deion Sanders is, beyond being one of the all-time greats, he's great for the sport, right? He's great for the Big 12 conference and, the eyes that it brings to not just Colorado, but that conference, that side of the country, which has been, turned upside down when it comes to college football recently. So hopefully he's on the sideline. But, man, it was scary. I'm glad that this is the way that it all played out for him and for his family. That's great news.
Yeah, hats off for them, Deion, and the rest of everybody involved with this, not to leak it out.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. I heard that. I was fully expecting a retirement for health issues. But yeah, thank goodness, cancer-free. Those are two awesome words, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
God bless. I mean, that really is so. And so now Deion, Deion's always a marketing mind. He's a marketing genius. He does it automatically. I think there is at times kind of a master plan behind it, premeditated. But I think naturally he just has a marketing mind. And he started talking about I depend on Depends because of the surgery. He said I have a hard time controlling my bladder. I wouldn't. I'm telling you, I bet he ends up doing a commercial for Depends. I'm telling you. Because he's already kind of joking. He said, I depend on Depends. I cannot control my bladder. And I said, I guarantee somebody from Depends.
He's the only guy that I know of that could get away with that.
And make it sound cool.
Yeah, he could pull it off. I mean, it's almost like, it's like, when they were showing DJ Lagway a while ago, can you, they got the Jordan brand on the, can you imagine a basketball jersey having a football player on it? Can you imagine that? But if they did, it would probably be Deion,
Yeah.
He's the only one that could pull that off. But that ain't going to put no football player on a basketball jersey.
I never thought about that, Coach. That is a brilliant encapsulation of the power of the Jordan brand.
Yeah.
He's on football players' jerseys. I never really thought about that. Deion Sanders he's lost 25 pounds during the treatment, and he still is dealing with post-treatment effects of bladder situation. I can't pee like I used to pee. I truly depend on Depends. I cannot control my bladder. If you see a porta potty on the sideline, you know why. And he's serious about the porta potty. And I've always wondered why they're not porta potties on the sideline anyway. I've talked about this.
I thought the same thing.
Right? You got to hold your bladder for a whole half, Coach. It's like
they probably got you go in the tent, the medical tent. They probably
Now, but Coach, back in our day, there wasn't no medical tent on the sideline.
Yeah, you're right.
I remember the guys, we would huddle around a guy so we could pee on the sideline.
That medical tent probably smelling like a kennel, man.
I truly depend on Depends. He's gonna have a Depends deal, I guarantee. And like Coach said, he's the only one that can make it sound cool. Yeah. He's gonna make Depends a cool thing. And now people are gonna be talking about, I wear Depends too. It's like only Deion can do that. Everybody pees their pants. Everybody, I didn't. I never peed my pants, but I do know there are guys that I remember. Was it Mark Schlereth? He tells a famous story how he peed his pants, and then he was a center, I think, and the quarterback had to get under there, and that's way too close. You're not gonna let you pee your pants. No, I never did. I did know two players though in my time in Texas who did lose control of their bladder on the field after like a hard collision, and it wasn't pee. It wasn't pee. Yeah, and they will. I will take that to the grave. I won't ever reveal who that is. No, can't get me to do it. That's my brothers. I can't do it. All right, let's get to a couple of more questions, and then we'll dive into a couple of topics, and we'll get done with today's show. How about this one from Tex Fan? He says, in the era of portal cohesion has to happen, and having 5 program O-lineman men is critical. The O-line pushed the D-line around. Why don't think they bought all those D-lineman men and not O-line if they needed O-linemen? Basically, why are they investing more in O-line? I think Tex Fan wants to know. Is that, I believe the question is. Not a good transfer. There are not a lot of good transfer portal O-linemen though.
Yeah, not cheap. And again, for Flood and Sark, their whole thing has been we're going to build from the inside, right? We're going to mold these guys to be ready for when it's their time. Cam Williams being prime example. You can look at Christian Jones in the development that he's taken as well. Obviously, Hayden Connor, Jake Majors, they've been here since the staff arrived. With their departures, well, now you've had guys behind the scenes who have been basically in the oven, right? They've been baking. And now that it's their time, you've heard the ding on the alarm. Now it's time for them to come out and show what they've been working on all this time. And look, let's not forget, right? DJ Campbell, 5-star kid. Cole Hudson, 4-star. Offensive lineman out of Frisco. Nato Uniozulu was a top 100 kid out of Allen. So these are talented kids that have all just been baking, right? They've been waiting their turn. So it just takes some time to get used to the guy on your left and your right, but it's going on about month 7 of working together in the offseason. They should be close. Now it's up to these last final, kind of tinkerings in fall camp before you go out and play Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, Texas, I mean, they're young on the O-line. It's inexperience, I should say, on the offensive line. But the talent at level and the upside is tremendous with those guys, especially at Gooseby. I've been talking to, if you want to, I forgot what day that was. If you want to feel optimistic about the O-line, you got to listen to Tony Hills talk about the tackles. And because he talks about how he's not only seen them at practice, but got a chance to talk to those young men, talking about Brandon Baker and Trevor Gooseby. And I had a little anxiety about the O-line, so I was talking to him about how athletic and the upside of those guys. And I believe, I'm trying to figure out, when does T. Hill come on? I believe Matthew knows. It was the one I was on with T. Hills a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him about the O-line, and he just had a great sermon. That's the way they call it trench church when he comes on. That's what they're going to try to call it. But he just had a great breakdown about the tackles and why, honestly, I don't think we have anything to worry about with that group. All right. A couple other things I want to bring up because I know we're getting close to the end here. Matt Miller, who does a great job as a draft analyst for ESPN. He recently had an article at ESPN where he is basically the premise is he's trying to break the tie at certain positions coming up in the 2026 draft, asking which player is better at this specific position. And so he did it at quarterback, running back, like these are my top two quarterbacks, asking NFL scout to break the tie for you. That's essentially what he did. And he did it at linebacker. And he did it with Anthony Hill. And he's a big Anthony Hill fan. Who's not? I mean, everybody's an Anthony Hill fan. But what I thought was interesting because once again, he compared him to C.J. Allen, the Georgia linebacker. Those were the two top linebackers on his board. And he's saying, hey, which one of these guys are better? And he said a debate has emerged about Hill's best position. Going back again, guys. He said it. He said at Texas, he plays primarily as an off-ball linebacker, but the 6'3", 235-pound defender produced 8 sacks last season with some elite blitzing skills. On 80 snaps as an edge rusher, he produced 11 pressures. He has the body type to add the necessary weight to play in space and on the end of the line. Once again, people talking about Anthony Hill as an edge rusher, and that's why he's going to get the advantage, in my opinion, over most other linebackers in this class. But once again, it's more buzz now about him playing on the edge from multiple draft analysts that we've heard before, Coach. What are your thoughts, Coach, about that? Because, I mean, that, like I said, to me, that's what's going to make him a top 10 pick, if he can rush the passer like that at a devalued position like off-ball linebacker.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it won't do anything but help him. And I really think that the NFL people love to get 2 for 1. I mean, you get people that are versatile players like that, and I mean, and they're rare. I mean, you can do it corner and safety. That's not that uncommon, but linebacker and edge rusher, it's not rare, but it's not very common to be able to do it at the level Anthony Hill does it. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a big feather in his cap when it comes down to draft time, if he can stay healthy.
Couldn't agree more. You know, that versatility, especially off the edge, which is such a significantly more valuable position than true off-ball linebacker for Hill. Look, if you're able to go out there and get 8-9 sacks again this year, you're in a position where top 10 is the expectation. He might be there already, and that's even just playing solely off-ball, but it's going to be interesting because there is still, and it's weird saying this after 3 years of Texas football with Torrey Becton, but there is still some baby fat on Anthony Hill, and that's at 240 pounds, right? He can still get to probably about 250 if that's where teams see him best suited at the next level.
I like that term because, it doesn't feel like he's got his grown man body just yet either, which is crazy.
Because you look at him, you're like, oh, this is a man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Still room.
Yep, that's a good take. I agree with that. So right now, I think will he have over 100 pass rush snaps? He hasn't had a season with over 100 pass rush snaps. ESPN has him with 80 there, with 8 sacks and 11 pressures in addition to that. Remember, Pro Football Focus has him, I believe, with 75 pass rush snaps, and they have him with 23 pressures. Just so you know, this is why everybody's pressures numbers are different. Everybody has a different definition of what a pressure is. You know what I'm saying? This is a pressure. And then I think Pro Football Focus, they include the sacks in their pressures. I'm not sure that ESPN's include a sack is separate from a pressure. So he's got 8 sacks here, and I think he's got 11 additional pressures. I think with Pro Football Focus, they include them all. And then the Pro Football Focus only has him with 6 sacks as opposed to 8. And numbers are crazy all over the place. Just giving you why things may be a little bit different. All right, last thing I want to bring up, guys, before we get done today. I saw the report from, I believe it's Joe Shad, about Quinn Ewers. It was actually Mike McDaniel talking about Quinn Ewers. Matthew, if you can bring this up, I'd like to play this really quickly. Guys, apparently Quinn Ewers is having a hell of a camp so far. I mean, a hell of a camp. And Mike McDaniel was asked about him, and he's getting raving reviews. Apparently in the last red zone period earlier today, he had 3 passes and 3 touchdowns in the red zone. And Quinn's not even great in the red zone. He's not even good in the red zone here in Texas. Yet he's balling out in the red zone there in Miami. Here is Mike McDaniel talking about Quinn Ewers.
How's Quinn Ewers doing?
Quinn Ewers is doing great. Rookies develop at different speeds. But regardless of their development, I think with Quinn, it starts with, a quarterback's a leader of men, and he has, you can tell he has there's a personality trait within him that really teammates gravitate to. So doing well with that, because I bring that up because as a rookie, a lot of times it's hard to see those things because rookies, it's embedded in failure. You mess something up to learn something, and you guys kind of get quiet and lose their confidence. Quinn has learned, very smart, really starting to grasp timing and stuff. But I think the whole quarterback room in general, I think Quinn's really benefited from Zach really developing, and then on top of that, Tua leads the charge. So I think those guys are all pushing each other to grow as players, and I think.
Yep. So Quinn getting some raving reviews early on. So congrats, Quinn. But this is what we know about Quinn, right? What's going on with Quinn right now at the start of training camp? He's healthy. He's healthy. He's his best games were against Alabama, against Michigan, and he was healthy. And then when he's not healthy, that's when some of the mechanics start to decay and the footwork and all that. But when Quinn's healthy, look out, man. Watch out.
Play.
He can ball. They seeing it now. He can ball. Last report from training camp here before we end things. How about this one about Jaden Blue, guys? Jaden Blue's got a lot of highlights. Got a one-handed catch on a wheel route down the field. I've seen him break away on a screen, coach. I saw another play with him break away when he was kind of an inside run. Patrick Walker does a great job covering the Cowboys. He put out this tweet. He said, this is from Brian Schottenheimer, a quote from Schottenheimer about Jaden Blue's progress in training camp. Quote, the speed, the dynamic playmaking ability. He's a dual threat guy. He doesn't need a lot of space to make guys miss. He's uncanny. But what I like is the professionalism he's shown at this camp. I remember there was a report. Remember early, maybe it was right before you started, Coach, right before the training.
They called him lazy.
Yes. That I was like, where the hell that's coming from? I'm glad now Coach Schottenheimer he's refuting that, pretty much saying, no, his professionalism is what we like. Guy's a pro. So Longhorns getting some complimentary reviews so far out of training camp. So good for those guys. Let's thank our final sponsor before we end things, our friends over at South Point Dodge. We appreciate them sponsoring the winning drive. And remember, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500, proven to last. Now, if the Ram 1500 isn't your speed, well, like I said, they have 600 vehicles in stock, so there's something there that will pique your interest. I know something that will pique your interest. How about the employee incentive pricing? That's their fancy way of saying you get the employee discount. That's right. You pay what the employees pay. pay right now at South Point Dodge. You won't find a better deal than that. They call it the real deal. So score big today at South Point Dodge. You can go see them in person off of I-35 or in South Austin, or you can go online at southpointdodge.com. Whether you need a car or a truck, it's something new or something used, or maybe it's a trade-in you're looking for, whatever your automotive needs, our friends at South Point Dodge are Austin's automotive everything. So get to the point today with our friends over at South Point Dodge, southpointdodge.com. Last question. CB says, did Rod use the blueberries and vinegar yet? Yes, I did. Apparently, I don't know if it's real or not, you can soak some of your fruit, like blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries, in a concoction of vinegar and baking soda and make them last longer. So I wasn't doing anything freaky. If y'all want to know what I was doing. Yesterday, I showed my phone, and I had based on football stuff on there, coach, but also my grocery list. So people got to look at my groceries like, damn, Rob, what are you getting at the store? What do you need blueberries and vinegar for? That's why I need the blueberries and vinegar. There you go. All right. So, thank you, Stevie. Appreciate you. Always looking out for me. All right. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes. Matthew is a real MVP. Couldn't do it without him. Thanks, Coach. Great stuff as always. Love the wisdom and the levity. Thank you, CJ, for all of your knowledge and expertise. Thank you to Stevie Lee, lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee, and my good friend and former teammate, Stevie Lee, courtesy of our good friends at Hardgrove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. Thank you to Von Lane, vonlane.com. Use that code OTF25. You'll get $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. Thank you to Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com, and South Point Dodge, southpointdodge.com. Hey, we got training camp starting up this week. The coordinators will be available later this week. We're going to have the media windows, 2 of them. So the On Texas football staff will be at those media windows to watch some practice, and we'll give you all the details. They'll be covered at ontexasfootball.com. If you are not a member of the OTF family, now's the perfect time to do it. You can get a year subscription, year access to ontexasfootball.com for just $39.95. This is the time to do it. It's going to be a historic year on the 40 acres, and you want to be a part of it with the best team, well, other than Texas football, the best team to cover Texas football at ontexasfootball.com. Use that code OTFOG, and you'll get a year subscription to ontexasfootball.com for just $39.95. You won't find it better than that. We talk about a lot here on the YouTube platform. It's a fraction of what they cover over at ontexasfootball.com. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys. For Matthew and for Coach and for CJ, I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Beavers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.